How you doing, family? We face a lot of severe things, and as we've been talking about psychological trauma and dysfunctional norms, and the things that happen to us, and where these things are rooted at, we also have to understand how all of these things connect together to tie together to do things like this. See, we got so caught up in the facades and images that we don't pay attention to what's really going on. I'm not a person that's good at pretending. So these are not accidental things. This takes a lot of people. And this is the system that nobody can fix and nobody knows how, and everybody is working so hard. Millions and millions of people are working hard to fix. And they can't because it's a system. So when I speak to you about psychological trauma and dysfunctional norms, if I can show you these things and I can explain to you what they do, and you can see me every day in my day-to-day life, and you can understand that I don't allow these things to force me into crimes or none of that, but instead to work with my own people who's in the most severe and detrimental state, because I'm forced there. And how would you be able to force mass amounts of people down? You would need the families and the communities, institutions, corporations, businesses linked together to do so. So when most of us go through things like this, we detach. We don't stay connected to the agencies nor our council members or representatives or people who we know directly have a hand in these things. We usually detach, right? We usually focus on the fact that these things are initiated through criminals, drug dealers, your real gang people in our communities, and supported by the middle class, upstanding, decent people. And this is pushed and forced through a system using poor people and anybody that's willing to go along. So psychological trauma is very severe. These people didn't have to know you. You ain't have to do nothing wrong to them. All somebody had to do was tell them something. You know how weak and broken and sick that is? Not a day in my life. I don't even think that would work on me as a kid. So I understand why I'm a threat. Yeah, even as a kid, I would have been asking why. I want to know why I'm doing something. I just don't want to just do something. It wouldn't work like that. So looking at this, that adults is used this way, our children don't have a chance at all. While these people trying to play games and psychologically play with me, I spend a lot of time separating from the world and being one-on-one with God. So what they will tell you is that I say cuss words and I smoke weed. That's way more important than anything else that we facing today in 2023. Pay attention. See, because when this is shown to you, this is given to you as somebody that's a criminal that's committing crimes, when I have no criminal ties but to the relatives and the friends from childhood. Not any criminal activities with anyone. But just hearsay through the relatives and these people in the community that's in the streets. So this is why I talk to you young folks about getting an education and not letting people sell facades and images to you. The street thing is a facades and images. That is the federal government's business. And you got one of three options. You can go to jail, you can die, or you can be a rat. And being a rat is cool. You can see, I'm showing you. You can be a rat, they can take good care of you. And you can continue to tear up your families and communities and call yourselves real boss niggas and real boss bitches. And you can believe in facades and images while you devastate your own children for generations. In the enslaved state, they don't realize what they're doing to their own families and children. They do not realize that they don't have a chance neither. You cannot create these types of cycles of chaos and destruction and believe there's something good that's going to come out of it. That's why it continues to look worse. And we become the scapegoat, the same people that's preyed on, because we don't take the time to care about anything. The only thing that we're taught to care about is if we get upset to do violent things and all of that against people that look like us.
Hello, children.
We don't never look past that. We don't never come above that. And that's because we are already bred into self-hatred. So to like and love yourself is very important. I'm not going to waste your time playing games with you. To like and love yourself. This is why I explain to you what's going on. So when you fall into these cycles and you fall into these thoughts, you understand where these things come from and why you need to change them. No one is going to care about you more than you care about you. So when these people talk to you, see, the thing is, I can show you, even with documents as I do, I explain to you the things that happen. It's forced. These things are created by affiliation, pure white hatred. It's forced, and that's the system that nobody can fix or change, that destroys generations. That's not really happening at all. It's distorted thinking, and that's due to psychological trauma and dysfunctional norms. That's why many of the people that walk around the communities that have lost their mind and they're saying the things that they're saying, you don't believe they happen, but they really do. It's just that they're in such a devastated state psychologically, mentally, that they're so hyped up or on edge, it just sounds crazy. It's not. The people are very sick. That's why I explain to them about their sicknesses, the things that they do to try to go out their way to make themselves known to you. That shit don't work on me. I've been reading about your sick ass all my life. I've been reading for a long time. I love reading. That's all I've been reading about. I don't read ghetto hood books and shit like that. That ain't what I read. So the things that I read about, it gives me a good idea of what happened prior to me being in this world, what we looking at now. So when I see the things that you're doing, I'm not shocked. This is what you was bred to be. The only thing is we don't want to accept who and what we are, and there's the problem. And many of our people who are severely enslaved, you don't understand the things that you're doing to devastate our families and communities. That is an issue. Your inability to think because you do not love and care about yourself. This ain't about other people. You shouldn't give nothing about what somebody else think. Every time somebody tell me that, I have to tell them the same thing. What's up, brother? You shouldn't give two shits about what nobody else think. I'm not being funny. You should know who you are well enough to know where you stand in this world. You should never be that simple-minded. Why would you care about what somebody else think about you when they don't, them people ain't nobody to you? These not people helping you. These not people that's benefiting you. These not people that care about you. Why would you care? Don't you think that it would be more beneficial to you for you to know who you are and care about yourself? This ain't a godly or friendly world. We live in a very severe, sadistic world. People just want to dress it up. Our validation of ourselves come from other people. Many of us lack the real intellect to even know or understand anything about psychological trauma or dysfunctional norms. So we're happily twisted and backwards in the things that we do. Now, if you sat down and took the time to explain it to somebody, then everybody would be playing dumb, but it's really simple. You spend more time looking at you so that you can actually see the world. I don't spend my time looking at them. I spend my time looking at me. So when I do start looking around me, I understand everything going on around me. And those things do not move me. This is a struggle, a situation. We are to fight and come out. We never overcame. Nobody's ever cared about us. We have to care about ourselves. So I dedicate my life to my people, ensuring that they know who they are, what we come from, and why they need to stand for themselves. You got to do this every day, fam. It can't be sometimes part of the time when you feel like it every day 24/7. Nobody has ever cared about us, and we got to care about ourselves. And this is the reason for showing you what it looks like for us today. Nobody's playing games. The superficial things, the petty things, those are wasting my time. You don't even need to play with me like that. I'm way beyond that. Spend a lot of time. A lot of time. So when people come to play, I always can show up just like they need me to. This is because you have a foundation, fam. Your foundation should not be built on superficial things or tangible things. Your foundation should be built on your character and the values of yourself. Therefore, if you ever fall in life or come up short, you won't feel like you're not somebody worth fighting for. You can't feel that way if you don't know love and like yourself. How? Now again, this is where we fall short at spiritually, because many of us do not heal. Now, you want to believe that spiritually you know and connect to God when you don't heal. Mentally and emotional is a healing. You got to heal. These things are force. They're meant to do exactly what they do. Kill, steal, and destroy. And because I've been able to do what I've been doing for so long, I'm going to continue on. We the scapegoat. No accountability, no responsibility. Now, people don't like the truth. They get upset. They fall apart. They want to play with you, treat you dumb, all of these things. But if you would have picked up a book, listen to your sister, picking up a book. Not one of the ghetto books that's talking about urban things and all of this, but actually a book that talked about history, something that really going on, you would understand exactly what we see and face. You wouldn't be falling apart. I've been paying attention for a long time. I'm not a simple-minded person, so I do know what simple-minded things look like. And when people treat you that way, it is offensive when you know better. We gotta overcome, fine. Period. Start worrying about what somebody else think about you and know who you are. This world ain't never thought nothing good of you. All you got to do is read our history. Nobody ever thought good of you. All you got to do is look at what we go through today. Nobody thought good of you. Our streets and communities flooded with drugs, but the drugs and the money belong to our agencies. Yet we the people that they incarcerate and prey on as criminals and dangerous. They're here. Real distorted things, right? Very acceptable. Very acceptable. We gotta stop playing, fam. That's the reason for showing you and not just saying. You can see the value of our children's lives and how and what our good, decent people are aligned to do. And then you can see how after using the agencies to do the wrong things, they use those same agencies to protect and remove children when they're already doing the wrong things against them. No accountability. This is done based on the fact of the things that you do, our families and communities. So it doesn't matter that we all are not involved in idiotic things and we take value in our children's education and their lives and what goes on. That does not matter. The fact that the color of our skin says that we're incapable of doing any of the things that they ensured our children do not have. It's nothing wrong with the very same people keeping the child educationally neglected. But if you was to step up as a parent and do your job in spite of what someone else does, then you're not a good parent. Because you're not waiting for somebody else to educate your child. You're educating your child. You're making sure your child has the best well-being and that their life is full of good, healthy, emotional and mental and physical well-being. That there's no abuse or danger or none of these things. Because you can see this in the way that a child life, when you look and see what's going on in their life. Because many of us we only deal and take care of our kids on holidays. That's not me. These pictures of my children are every day. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. I don't stop doing my job as a parent, nor do they go on the back burner for me or anyone else. So it's always to take care of them and look out for them first. The reason why I have a high value of my own children is because I have a high value of myself, something I had to work to gain, coming from the same dysfunctional and psychological trauma that the rest of us go through. And many of us don't come out because we fall into severe drugs or mental health, which is forced because we're forced into high-risk environments. When we're pushed into high-risk environments, the thing is to feed the pharmaceutical companies off of us. And by doing so, many of us take the drugs, to escape. Once we're addicted, we no longer have what we need from the pharmaceutical companies, and we fall into the streets. Now, while everybody make money and live good and are good, decent, upstanding people, we are the people who are preyed on. Then you're going to be upset for me telling you the truth because you've been able to do this for so long. And many of us have been too dumb to know what's happening to us. So that means I shouldn't know what's happening to me. That's not so, family. You got to stop playing with your life. All of that ghetto, trending images, all of that is to keep us in these spirals. When you look at the District of Columbia have a 98% illiteracy rate and a 98% sexual, physical, and mental abuse from K3 to 12th grade. That's almost 100% of our kids. You know this is generations and generations and generations of illiterate children. Generations of illiterate children. So with generations of illiterate children, what do you think their parents can do for generation after generation? So when you look at the kids now in the district, the first thing they say, oh, these kids are terrible, they bad. These kids come from generations and generations of poverty. They can barely read or write. All they know is ghetto and slang shit. They have no chance. They are already pushed into the system without no awareness. They're either prison, young mothers, uneducated, sick, more people in the system, looking for housing. This is how you increase poverty. They don't even realize it, because right now they stuck in the images of facades, but these are the things that we're doing, fine. These are the things that we are doing. Somebody got to take the time to care about themselves so that we can do better. I'm not into feelings when children are being molested and solicited and the people in our communities that are good and decent are playing sick games and all of these other things based on bullshit that means nothing, that has nothing to do with humanity. Human rights are nothing that they say that we stand for. Y'all play a lot of simple-minded games, waste a lot of time doing a lot of dumb shit. And you got to excuse me because I would love to say it better. But when you talking about the lives of generations of our children, you got to pardon me, fine. You really do. You really got to look at something other than ghetto things. Okay? And when you learn about abuse, power and control, it's all the same, whether it's in your house, in the community, from agencies, it's all the same. You can look and understand what's going on. Because you learn these things right here. You look at yourself in all of this first. Figure out where you stand, what's wrong with you, fix you. When you always focus on you, God don't leave us blind in this world. He allow us to see. People get mad at me for not being dumb, but they're not the ones who educated me. They're not the ones who give me intellect or wisdom. That's not how that works. Start worrying about other people, fine. If I wasted my time worrying about them, sheesh, don't even waste your time with nothing like that. If you think, listen, fine, people walk around trying to do all kind of things. The thing is, as you can see, you get the chance to hear some of it today. Because most of the time they don't be realizing that I actually be doing these lessons for my people in the community. So they be walking past all close, so they be on my recordings. So you can understand and know what's happening in our communities is done to mental enslavement through pure white hatred. No games, no jokes. All of the street things and all of the things taught to us, all you got to do is pay attention. I give you the tools to learn and explain to you so that you can see, but you got to heal, fine. You can't stand in this without healing. You'll be so caught up in all of the superficial things that they do, you will never face none of the real issues that we face. That's what makes me a threat. Not that I'm doing anything bad to anybody, that I don't play the way that they feel like, based on the things that they do to us, I should be, because that's what they feel. What's up, fam? How you doing? But that's not how that works. Again, this is why I explained to you, when the people were saying I was alone and miserable, I was not. This is where I found my peace, my joy, healing. It takes years and years. People just assume things based on the things they have going on around you. So they create and they believe those things. That's not so. If what they were saying was true, I would be severely damaged and messed up. I wouldn't be able to fight in anything. I wouldn't be able to overcome anything. That's the point of showing you the things that happen to me with no shame, because they're done intentionally. The thing is to shame you, but I'm not ashamed of what's done intentionally. I know who I am and what I'm capable of. And I show you that too. Even with all of this in the way, I still be able to do things and overcome and be productive. That does not mean because we do the right things, things are going to be good for us. These things are not done based on you doing anything wrong. That's taught to you in enslaved mentality. That's why they keep trying to say everything is karma. Karma is something that's done by the universe without anyone putting a hand into it. Learn how to read and write so people don't just tell you anything and have you stupid. They use nuances, use words in a way that they don't mean. That's not what it means. They say something else. So learn on your own. Read. Yeah, look at when you read something you don't understand what it means, look up the word. It's better to read slow than learn, so you can read fast and actually know what you're reading. I do it all the time, fam. I hate it too. But sometimes I be reading stuff that's way out of my league, so I got to, because I don't know what all the words mean. There's more intelligent people in the world than me, so I like learning. It doesn't bother me, but it is a slow pace. Yes, it is. But when you're illiterate or you're behind, that's even more difficult, because you cannot use resources and tools like these to assist yourself, and you're hindered. You're not going to read pamphlets and write things down if you don't have the skills to read and write well. You're going to be frustrated with understanding what you're reading and trying to write out whatever you're thinking or whatever it's asking you to do. I see this a lot amongst our people. So again, this is the reason why I spend and dedicate my time to put these tools together and explain these things to you. I face a lot of different things, fine. I'm not caught up in none of this stuff about none of these people. This is a very sick world. This is very sadistic. Very sick. It's just that I've been seeing it for so long because I just always been geeky. So I've always been learning. And something, when I don't know something, I dig to find out. I'll even sit. And that I have patience for because I love learning. So I get to show you the things that happen to us in our families and communities based on psychological trauma and dysfunctional norms. Many of these things forced you into severe drug addiction, mental health, or both. Understanding what we come from and what is going on now helps you to fight to overcome. These things you must do within yourself. Do not let nobody in this dang on world get you all caught up sideways and backwards. Fine, let me tell you something. When I was messed up, nobody had a problem with me. At all, okay? When I started doing better in life, people had a problem. I'm showing you. If you can't see and hear, it's because you're unable to receive. It's not because of anything that I'm doing. So I know that you can see and you can hear and you do understand and know. You gotta live in your own truth. Don't let nobody deteriorate you to superficial things. Remember, anything that's bad concerning us is made to look good. It's pushed to be something, finesse and manipulate and deceit. Weird. Being a weirdo, they made that cool. Weirdo used to mean something bad. Okay, pay attention. Pay attention, fine. That's what you got to do. So don't dedicate your time to looking at the world. Dedicate your time to looking at you. God will reveal everything else in the world to you. Harder to move you with a foundation. When you actually stand with God, you can stand on your own anywhere, anytime. You don't need anyone or anything. Believe that. That don't mean you won't stand the way that you need to stand. So don't get caught up in these things. You bigger than that. You better than that. You was not meant to be what you are. That is what you're forced to be. We never look at our enslaved brothers and sisters and minorities, people who never had a problem with enslavement, never seen a problem with being slaves. They never left, fam. That remains today. And that's a blanket in this chaos to keep these same 6 cycles going, pretending that they're not. So I get to show you so we can stop pretending and we can stop playing. You can deal with real issues and problems. But first, for our people at the bottom that's forced into this, you got to fight for yourself so that you can heal. The people at the top have no means of doing anything right. That's why I stay connected with them so that you can see and know. Now, if you're too dumb to do what you have to do, then that's on you. You're going to have to fight to heal. There's no need in having no shame in this. There's nothing you can do but do the wrong thing so that you can be a part of the problem too and keep the same cycles going. By doing the right things, this is what is happening to us. Most of the time, because we don't take the time to care about anything, family, this is why we're faced with this. That's why I'm glad that you got to see the things that I go through and all of that. Yeah, I don't really fall apart about myself too much as I do my child. Children are innocent, so it's something different to me. Yeah, I can understand the sickness of people and to make excuses for that sickness and pretend that you molesting and soliciting children because you're angry. No, you're molesting and soliciting children because that's what you've been bred to do. You've been doing this for generations. It's done through our families and communities. It's a very sick thing to prey on our own young children. That's why. It's just those nice little secrets that y'all cover up and keep on spiraling out of control. That's why so many people fall into severe mental health and drugs. High risk, very, very abusive and dangerous environments. This is all we know. People try to play like you don't remember that I'm born and bred in the streets into the most sickest shit that people can do. Nobody cares about us. Nobody ever cared about us. I'm showing you. But I live amongst my people in my communities every day, no matter where I go. They know I can't love them. I live in that truth. I don't play with their lives. I don't misguide them. I don't use and abuse them. And everywhere I go, I'm going to get love no matter what this world have tried to do. All the sick shit y'all have done, all the hard work and energy you put into lies and how y'all came, that shit does nothing. My character stands. That's not what I'm talking about in this. I'm not fighting about nothing I know about me. I'm fighting about the fact that we don't have human rights and due process. And it's done through criminal things in the streets, involving relatives, friends, or communities, institutions, whatever. Very severe. Now, because I told the relatives and the friends and the so-called real street people the truth and cursed them out, because I was really pissed off. And when I'm pissed off, I don't say things very nice. I have to work on things too. No perfection. But I do mean what I say. What I don't do is I don't just say dumb things because I'm upset. So I don't just call names. But I mean what I say. And what I say matches with what I'm saying, with what you've done. Yeah, what I'm saying about you, they match up. They're not off none. There's no confusion. They match up. Some things is so sick and twisted and messed up. I had to sit down for a while to look at really what happened to us. That, think about that. If somebody told you that somebody said something about you, somebody told you, not somebody ever doing anything to you. They always do whatever they can for you, and tell you the truth. But somebody else telling you something can make you harm and do anything to somebody. And you don't see nothing wrong with that. You don't think that's a weakness? You think that's a strength? Ooh. Sickness of mankind. So in all of these things these people have been doing to play and pretend, this has been happening to a lot of people. This is millions and millions of people's lives on some sick, demented, demonic, sadistic mess that's very unnecessary. Nobody's ever going to be validated. If you've been molesting and raping and killing and doing all this sick shit for centuries and you ain't validated, you ain't gonna never be validated by this. That's a distorted thinking. I'm not even playing when I say please. Please indulge me and pick up a damn book. I'm not joking. And read our history. And read about the things that were done. They're the same very things today. That's very traumatic for me. I can relate and understand exactly what the slaves went through. You don't think that would be very traumatic? It is. So when you see me, you do see me smoking weed. Yes, you do. It is very traumatic. I thank God that I don't just drop dead from the shit. It's very traumatic. Every story, I relive all of that. That's why I don't watch slave movies. I don't want to relive any of it. I don't want to live the trauma of it because I've already been read about it and I can relate it to today. And that's what makes me a threat, that I can think. It's not that other people are not telling you. It's that people that this far down, you don't want them to think and be able to understand what's going on, to be able to keep up and deal with the agencies instead of separating, because the agencies are only our communities and families. I don't know anybody who has a family that's not affiliated with our agencies. Where they're at. Okay, so again, distorted thinking. It's offensive because many of us are dumbed down that they tried to treat me the same way. It's very offensive. So believe me, fam, I don't expect to live in this. Come on, these people been killing us for how long? There's no fear in that. That's okay. Nothing begins with me, nothing ends with me. This is way bigger than that. You get caught up in the small things you can't see. You need to heal. Listen to me, heal. You will see. Your strength is in your love. Your weakness is in your hatred. That's why I could turn up like I can, how my people have seen me do. And I'm so loving and kind. And I could be totally savage and way more vicious than people who do sick shit to us in our communities. And they don't be expecting it when they run down on me. You've seen it, right? You've seen that I can flip sides. And I feel bad, but I'll stand for me. If I ever got to choose me and you, I stand for me. And they see that and they understand. It's not that I mean any harm. I understand that some of us are too sick to help and they won't stop on their own. No matter what you do, you have to stand against that. So there's no point in ever considering running from anybody. That should never be something you do. I don't give a damn if you got to stand against the world. You stand. Know who you are. Let people play with you and dictate where you stand at in life. Somebody else is dictating them. They don't know who they are. But if you can see yourself, God allows you to see the world clearly, so people can't fool you or play with you. You'll be able to read them very easy. Common sense, reason, and logic. A lot of things we don't have because we chose to fall into images and facades. So I don't waste my time just saying things to you plain. Most of the time, nobody knows how I feel because I was never saying anything. I was off doing something else, minding my own business. So they just make up things and you're whoever they say you are. So you get to see it, what that looks like, what that feels like, what that does. So where you're standing at in your struggle because you fell into drugs is forced on me too. They want to force pharmaceutical drugs on me illegally, and they're allowed to do that based on status and superiority. I like talking to psychologists and therapists. I like talking to those type of people because they're smart and I can ask questions and they should be able to answer them. Most of the time they can't because these people are not. So I do know good doctors because I've had good doctors. And good doctors can always answer your questions, give you material and resources to understand and know, to explain things further to you if they don't have the time to do it. Good doctors always do that with your medication, with anything. Good doctors don't force things on you that'll cripple you. So if you can explain to a doctor why something is not good for you and it's legit, they usually accept that and do what's best for you because that's their job. When they don't, you're in a bad situation, and we face a lot of that. So, heal. Love you, family.